Do not fall in love with your tenants, okay?
Right.
That's what everybody does at the beginning. You have to treat this as a business and raise your rents at least every couple of years. I was talking to a lady the other day. She wants to put her house on the market. She lives in Anaheim. She has some tenants in there and she doesn't really want to kick them out. And I go, okay, well, it's a 4-bedroom house. How much are they paying for rent? $1,200. I go, $1,200? When's the last time you raised rent? Oh, Joe, I've never raised rent. These are the kindest, friendliest. For $1,200, I'll go rent your place.
I'll be kind and friendly and fix everything as well.
Yeah, no kidding. It's
For
like,
1,200, yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I guess, one of the mistakes that people that are landlords make is you fall in love with the tenants. And, that's not, I'm not saying not to be respectful and nice to them. I'm just saying not to fall in love to them so that, you're able to raise the rents up every couple of years without a concern.
I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter.
And I am very, very excited because I have Joe Holmes with us today. Now, I actually don't know Joe very well, but Joe has come highly recommended to me by Kirk and by another gentleman, Jeff, who I know very well, and I respect their opinions. So I'm excited to bring Joe because he's clearly a strong member of our Southern California community, and he's been involved in real estate for a long period of time. So I'm as excited to hear his story as maybe you, my listeners, are excited to hear his story. But let me tell you a little bit about his bio, and then we're going to jump on into that. So Joe, thank you for being here, by the way. It's great that you've given your time to this.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. Joe is a full-time real estate professional with over 40 years of experience. Yes, that means he is more mature than I am. I'll have to give him credit for that. Of buying, selling real estate full-time. Hold on, I have to slide his bio over here, guys. Buying and selling real estate for himself and for his clients. Joe is a self-described workaholic and a very skillful negotiator. He holds a degree in business administration and prides himself on being a very honest and ethical person. Thus, the high recommendations from two people I respect as being honest and ethical. Joe began his real estate career by purchasing his first home at the age of 20 and then his first investment at 22. He was taught the real estate business by his father mentor, who used to drag him out to fix and flip projects in the early 70s. Joe currently has many buy and hold that he acquired over the past 40 years and now mainly flips homes with his daughter and son-in-law. Joe began flipping home again 7 years ago after his son-in-law asked him to teach him the business. As Joe learned from his father, they actually started on site with the rehab so he could learn the business from the ground up. Joe and Ryan were able to complete 90% of the rehab and only hired out 10% of the jobs. They completed 4 rehabs, and now his son-in-law is in charge of handling the contractors completely. His daughter is the design expert and handles the sale of the homes. Joe now has free time available, by the way, to my listeners. So hear that he's available for a phone call or for mentoring. Pass along his knowledge to others and does so by groups and one-on-one training. He hosts his own local meetup group in Orange County, meetup.com, Orange County Real Estate Investor Networking. So Joe, and it's Joe Holmes, JoeHoms.com. So Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. So tell us I read your bio and I get the sense for it. Like, this is multi-generational. Dad, now you, now son-in-law, and your daughter, who seems to be engaged in this. But tell us a little bit more of your version of your story. How you got started, what it means to you. Like, I do real estate. It's a crazy field.
I love real estate. I always have. Since I agree, my dad used to literally drag me in high school to, hey, paint that room, paint that house, put the carpet in, fix the garbage disposal, whatever. I think that's what really kind of got me started. And then I did have a 9-to-5 job when I graduated from high school. And I actually got another job a few years later when I was 22, and I actually worked on a 9-to-5 job for 30 years. And yeah, and then hold your breath here that that 9 to 5 job afforded me a pension, which I was able to retire at the time. I was 50 years old and I retired. During that entire time, I was investing in real estate. I only started, working with clients and actually representing them about 15 years ago.
As a real estate agent.
As a real estate agent.
As a real estate agent. Mhm.
Yeah. So I was using other real estate agents as I was working this other 9 to 5 job. And so yeah, and I had my license the entire time. It's just I didn't have it hung with anybody. I wasn't really kind of active. My 9 to 5 job didn't afford me that ability to do that. But then the minute that I retired, I was able to just hang it, and it was a really kind of perfect time storm, so to speak. And we were going through an upturn in the real estate at that time. And then we had the downturn, and that's when my daughter and my other son got involved in a business with me. And it was like, trial by fire. I was doing probably 10 to 15 listings a month, helping people that were getting foreclosed on because of the situation.
Mhm.
So I was doing a lot of short sales at the time.
Mhm.
And then I met a gentleman that was buying properties at the courthouse steps, and ended up representing him on his sales side. So I started the brokerage, which is my daughter's and my son-in-law's, about 7 years ago now.
Okay.
And the flipping also 7 years ago. And I'm pretty much kind of stepping back from all that stuff and mentoring other people and helping other people reach their financial goal.
So you are a real estate agent, broker. You are a flipper, as well as you're a mentor and teacher.
Correct.
So the flipping, it sounds like, were you flipping during the 30 years of your job?
Yes.
Okay, so you did flipping while how does a young man manage that? You were flipping in Orange County and you were working in Orange County, or, put some flesh and blood on what it really takes to be able to have the job and have successful flipping.
Well, the JOB paid very well, so that was good. The prices on the stuff that I was buying a lot of condos, because condos are easy for me to fix up. It's, just the inside. I don't have to
Mhm.
worry about landscaping or roof, painting, any of that stuff. So it's real easy for me to go in and flip a condo and have it done in less than 30 days, put it back on the market. The prices back then in, 80s and stuff were like 100 grand for these
Yeah.
places, sometimes less. The first property that I purchased over 40 years ago now, I paid 55,000 for that. It was a condo. I still own it today. And I recommend that if you're young, if you can buy something here in California and just hold on to it. And now when, at my age, 65, I've got lots of choices
Mhm.
with the stuff that I purchased, and my tenants have basically paid off my mortgage for me. So yeah, it's I guess that's part of my story there.
Well, I mean, I consider it part of your story because, the reality of being in real estate, there's a lot of courses and there's a lot of things that we're taught, but then there's the reality of what it means to live that life, and real estate can be highly rewarding. Real estate can also be highly challenging. It's something that does require time and focus. And if a lot of people are like, oh, I want to give up my job to work full-time in real estate, but there's a lot to be gained either direction. Right? You can
Yeah,
keep your job and you can flip
absolutely.
condos in real estate and flip them in 30 days,
Yeah,
right? That's
no,
what you're telling us.
absolutely. I guess it really depends on the individual and how focused and energetic you are. So, I'll take you back 40 years ago. the only way that I could learn about real estate was with my dad, or go out and pay for a real estate license course to get my license,
Mhm.
which is what I did.
Mhm.
And I always recommend that to people now. It's like very inexpensive to get that course to get your license. That doesn't mean that you have to sell real estate. That's the best way of educating yourself. Back then, we didn't have, cell phones, and we barely had pagers back then. And, if anybody remembers that, I was talking to somebody today about a pager. And so a lot of it was self-taught. I didn't have Zoom. I didn't have Bigger Pockets. I didn't have meetups. I
Right.
didn't have any of that stuff. So,
YouTube videos.
yeah, it's like, hey, Dad, I bought this place. I need to rehab the kitchen. Can you come over and help me, or at least give me some advice? He would always come over and help me. He never hesitated. And then I also have to give credit to my wife, because she was literally there the entire time that I was doing this. Hand me the paintbrush, or here, bring me this tile. Back then it was peel and stick. Okay, I don't know if you remember peel and
Yes.
stick tile.
Yeah, I do actually. I do
Yeah.
remember peel and stick tile.
Yeah. So it was like, here, let me have this, and
Right.
peel the back, and then we put it down on the floor, and we do a whole floor in less than a couple of hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot of tile work or stuff like that, only in the bathrooms, and we did do that. And then you just literally just learn what to do along the way. I always like to do a lot of the work myself. But again, when you get older, that doesn't happen much anymore, because it's just too physically demanding for me.
So you would rehab them, but it sounds like you also kept some of them. The way you developed you had a job, but then you had your semi-job, part-time job in real estate flipping, but you also were cultivating and growing a real estate portfolio. Were you flipping more than keeping? Were you keeping more than flipping?
I was probably keeping more than I was flipping. And then depending on the real estate cycle, because I've been through 3 of them. So, for example, early on when the market's down, I'm buying and I'm holding on to those properties. And like right now, I've got a self-directed 401k that I use to purchase properties. But that's kind of a different story, in that the 401k is for me to build up my retirement, and it's also tax deferred. So when I sell a property, I don't have to pay any taxes on it. All the money goes back into the 401k. And obviously that's, for my benefit when I get older and I can't work anymore, then I have that as well. But there was a period of time where I was buying properties, and I actually focused on what you would call a farm area. My farm area was in San Juan Capistrano, which is where I have the majority of my properties. But great community, great rental. They're pretty much Hispanic, probably pretty much first generation at the time I started. They're probably second and third generation now. Call me up, hey Joe, your rent is ready, come pick it up. I used to pick it up in cash. I actually picked it up in cash until about 7 years ago. And my daughter says, why are you still picking up money in cash? Money from your tenants.
From your tenants, yeah.
That's weird. Just
why are you still driving there? Come on.
Yeah, why don't you just tell them to put it in a bank or send you a check? I go, well, most of them don't have checking accounts anyways.
Right.
But I did give them my bank account info, and they do go to the bank and deposit it there now for me. The other ones actually come to the office, and then they drop the money there. So that's good. I used to like going down there because, I could see.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to get to that part. Like, no, I get to see it once a month, right?
Yeah, I get to see what's going on in there, and then the other side of that coin is, oh, Joe, hey, by the way, while you're here, can you come inside and check this out? I haven't had a chance to call you. So can you fix this? So it was kind of, yay, I've got money. And then the other side was, oh my gosh, I also have a problem that just came up too, So, but it's fun. I enjoy doing this.
But you know only a little bit of my history, but part of my history, of course, is owning rental units in primarily Hispanic neighborhoods, right? And so, I think it's wonderful if I'm going to be a landlord who owns this building for 10 years, 15 years. I kind of want my tenant to say, hey, by the way, I've got X, Y, and Z not working before it turns into my, the tile being flooded in the kitchen because the garbage disposal has been broken for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually kind of want them to do that. So that actually gave you perfect permission, even though it sounds old school, not to call us old, but we are, or older, right? We're not 20-year-old punks anymore. Right.
Yeah.
But it was like, it gives us perfect permission to be able to walk into the unit without 24-hour notice, without making it look like we're getting them in trouble. It keeps, gives us direct contact. There's advantages to being able to do that. Now, I used to say, I work for the company that owns the unit. I didn't claim that it was mine. I claimed that I worked for them, and then I'd be happy to submit any of their requests or concerns to the owner of the building. That was what I used to say, for good or for bad.
That's good, because I started out the same as you, probably, yeah, this is my unit. I'll take care of whatever needs to be taken care of, to, putting that distance between the tenant and me, the owner. So I'm basically the property manager. That's how they know me.
Right.
Is I'm a property manager. So any issues that come up, I do the same thing. Hey, they complained about the carpeting. It's been in there for 5 years and they want new carpet. So I go home and I look in the mirror and I go, hey, what do you want to tell them? And the
Let's
mirror
have an official meeting here.
Yeah, and answers me back, says, well, you know what to tell him. So I go back and I go, hey, I got good news and bad news. Well, what's the good news, Joe? He said, fine, we're going to put some new carpet in here for you. Well, wait a second, Joe, you said there's bad news. What's the bad news? Well, we haven't raised your rent in about 3 years, 4 years. So your rent's going to go up here to, whatever.
Right.
Joe, I think we can live with the carpet the way it is. So,
the carpet for another couple of years.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. But the broken garbage disposal, right? To me, those were always like valuable, like anything that seemed like a liability, electrical, water. I wanted to know those.
Yeah. And garbage disposal, that's a great, part, because my garbage disposals last maybe a couple of years at the most. They just go real quickly. Do you also have issues with screen windows?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what they do, crawl out the window and like bent up the screen or whatever. And I get a little nastygram from the HOA. Your screen on your window is bent. Please fix it or we're going to fine you.
Right.
But I used to be really nice and I used to go out there and fix it. I gotten to the point now where I'm sorry, that's not my responsibility. You need to go fix it. And I think it's a lot better that way for at least for me.
So who needs to go fix it? Just for the lesson, for the listeners, when you say the HOA sends you a letter, who are you saying has to go fix it? The tenant has to go fix it, or the HOA has to go fix it? When you say
no, the tenant.
The tenant has to fix it.
Just notifying me that I'm in violation.
Right.
Okay. And so to cure that violation, they have to take the screen off, go down to Denults, rescreen it, and then put it back on the window, which is, again, like early on, I was doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn after a while that no, that's not my responsibility.
So what if, sort of like the concept of like, you're an expert in 3 different areas. And so I'm going to ask you hopefully about all 3 areas, but in being a long-term, basically professional landlord, like what is it that you have learned that kind of needs to happen as a landlord to continue to make your unit successful?
Well, first of all, be honest. And this goes for anything that you do, in anything related to, and I mean life, basically. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. Okay. Now, if you're up here and then they start going down, getting closer to the gutter, try not to follow them down. Okay. Try to stay above the fray, but
okay.
Just treat people the way you want to be treated and you'll be fine. I have my tenants kind of trained in that if they're going to be late for the month,
mm-hmm.
they call me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I tell them, I'm a nice guy. If you call me, and it especially happens around Christmas, we spent some money for the kids, whatever excuse they want to use. So we're going to be about a week late. Okay. And my rent is due on the 1st, and there's no grace period whatsoever. It is on the 1st. If not, you're late. But if you call me, then I understand. I just don't want to call you on the 10th and go, hey, where's the rent? Okay, I would rather have them call me. So things like that, training them up front, what your expectations are, and then what they should do. Your garbage disposal issue is a perfect thing. Yeah, it's if like something's dripping and something's bad, then please call me. I'm happy to go out there and fix it. It's not that difficult, because it will get into a bigger mess if you don't take care of it. So yeah, just and over the years, I've started out just like I tell people not to. Okay, don't fall in love with your tenants.
Right. Yes.
Do not fall in love with your tenants. Okay.
Right.
That's what everybody does at the beginning. You have to treat this as a business and raise your rents at least every couple of years. I was talking to a lady the other day. She wants to put her house on the market. She lives in Anaheim. She has some tenants in there, and she doesn't really want to kick them out. And I go, okay, well, it's a 4-bedroom house. How much are they paying for rent? $1,200. I go, $1,200? When's the last time you raised rent? Oh, Joe, I've never raised rent. These are the kindest, friendliest. Well, for $1,200, I'd go rent your place.
I'll be kind and friendly and fix everything as well.
Yeah, no kidding. It's
For
like,
$1,200, yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I guess, one of the mistakes that people that are landlords make is you fall in love with the tenants. And, that's not, I'm not saying not to be respectful and nice to them. I'm just saying not to fall in love to them, so that, you're able to raise the rents up every couple of years without a concern.
And I think you just said it in a really important way, which is that you're able to. Like,
Yes.
if you fall in love with them, it makes it hard as a human being to raise your rents as you would want to as a business person.
Correct.
But if you understand it is your business, this is actually a business model, and effectively, eventually, if not immediately, it is paying your personal bills at home. Like I keep trying to put forward, like it's paying for the house over my daughter's head. The rent that you're paying me is paying for the house over my kid's head, just as, you're paying rent to keep a house over your kid's head. And if I don't raise the rents and I don't handle this as a business, then I can't continue to afford the extra things that my family needs, whether it's a bike for her 10th birthday, or whether it's, school books for her to be able to go to school, or whether it's a college fund, or, just all the basics of life. We're mom and pop owners. Our personal life and our personal income is often attached to these buildings.
Yes, absolutely.
Or can be,
Yes.
or at least your retirement fund is attached to that building and that capacity to make it perform. So I appreciate the tips that you're talking about, because we're human beings and we want to be engaged in it, but we also need to serve our equity, our equal position, right? Be equal with them and integrous with ourselves as much as we are with them.
Yes.
So you worked, what was your JOB, by the way, for 30 years? May I ask?
I knew you were going to ask.
How can I not ask? You avoided saying it a couple of times, Joe.
Out of all the interviews that I've done like this, and I've done many, maybe 1 or 2 people have asked me. It's not something that I get asked a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Either.
I was a police officer for 30 years.
Oh, man. That's cool.
So can you imagine? I'm in my black and white, and I, stop at a house and I go, oh, I'm just here to show it, or to see it, whatever. So, at the beginning of the interview, I said that my 9 to 5 job didn't allow me to do certain things. Well, that's the reason, but anyways, I love doing that. I did spend 30 years doing that. And the day that I was able to retire, I retired and really haven't looked back since.
Okay. The reason why I asked about what your profession was is because I'm a great believer that part of, it's my agenda. I'll make my agenda transparent. part of what I believe and what I ask of others is, if you can find a way to make your natural talents work for you in real estate, that you're more likely to be successful in your real estate portfolio versus working against your natural talents, right? Because sometimes people are like, oh, this is a great deal. This is the best way to make money in real estate. And I'm like, yeah, but you're a CPA. You don't know anything about laying drywall. I'm like, that's over here and this is over here. And I think you're setting yourself up. I could like the reach is too far, right? But when you talk about being a landlord and being a police officer, I could see how the reach isn't as far.
It's not. It's dealing with people.
It's dealing with people.
Yeah, it's dealing with people. And
Yeah.
that's what I did for 30 years. And I became, very good at reading body language and listening, especially listening to what people would say. I'd stop a homeless guy or something, or some guy that wasn't acting normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd ask him, the first question I asked, are you on some type of medication? They would spout out Paxil and other, medications that I know are hallucinogenic.
Mm-hmm.
They're prescription, but they're hallucinogenic. So now that tells me I'm dealing with somebody that, okay, may have some problems there. I have to deal with them a total different way.
Yeah.
And when I call agents on, properties and talk to them, and I love talking to the younger inexperienced agents because they'll tell you everything. It's like, I can't get them to stop talking, and it's like, great for me, but hey, my client is really desperate. He wants to sell, and it's like, I think if you put an offer at this price, well, what about this price? A little bit lower. Yeah, that might work too, and it's like, okay, so there goes the fiduciary responsibility on your part out the window. Okay, you're just telling me everything about this deal, which is fine for me, but sometimes they have to kind of step back and say, who am I like helping here? My seller or this guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, right? The onus of responsibility for integrity, I think, is a big question, right? And so, what do you, I mean, I love the young agents too, because I love hearing them work it out. I've got a client right now who's got a very competent but young agent, and he's busy doing that same sort of thing, like, and here's what we did, and we did that, and we got this covered, we got that. And he's busy going down his checklist of all the things he needs to have covered. And in going down that checklist, he's telling me a lot of information, both about some things that my client has done that might need to get sorted out between me and my client, but also about the sale of the property and what's going on with that particular sale of the property. And the listening becomes important when you're looking to discern and decipher, what's valuable about the stories that you're being told,
right?
Both about the details of the property as well as the details of the sale itself. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's great, because it does, like you said, to me, those two go together. So tell me about what you teach. Tell me about your mentorship program and what you teach, and what do you teach there? And what's your real focus in that?
Really, and this is kind of surprising in a way. I've been on Bigger Pockets. And if anybody that's listening to this doesn't know what I'm talking about, Bigger Pockets is basically, it's a United States website for investors, but it's pretty much global right now. And it's an area that you can go sign up, and you don't have to even pay anything if you don't want to. But they have lots of forums, and you can answer questions there, which I do. Over the last 3 years, I've met with over 300 people, face-to-face mostly. And it's, Joe, I'm 20 and I want to get started in real estate. What do you think I should do? And so it could be as simple as mentoring in that fashion, or if they want to learn how to flip properties, come to the office Saturday. I've got 3 other people coming in. We're going to go from A to Z, an overview on how to flip properties. And then I leave it in their, shoulders, on their shoulders. It's like, you need to take responsibility for yourself. If I can give you this basic information, and then if you're serious, then you need to move forward and do something else with that. And so I kind of leave that up to them, what they want to do. If they want to come back in and get more training from me, I've had 3 people about 6 months ago. I met all 3 of them at once, and they all wanted to learn. And I said, okay, why don't you guys come in every Wednesday? And that turned out to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we'd start out like at 10, and we'd talk about, certain things. And then I'd pull up the MLS and we go out and look at properties. We go out and look at distressed properties, and I walk them through, this is what I'm looking for, how I'm looking for it. We talk about financing. We talk about everything. 2 of them are real estate agents now that work with me, and the other one is working on getting his real estate license. He does wholesaling for me though. So
That's good.
yeah, so it's like, something that's not necessarily written down in stone, but it's just on an individual basis, what you want to do and how far you want to take it.
So it sounds like if people wanted to get some mentorship from you, it sounds like it's both real estate agents as well as maybe people who wanted to be flippers, that
Correct.
you kind of work with both of them.
Yeah, no, I've had real estate agents come to the office and say, can you teach me how to do this and that? Or do I have to join your firm? I go, no, you don't have to. I'm happy to teach you. It's like, well, Joe, why are you doing this? It's like, then I'll be your competition. Believe me, you're not even close to being my competition. Right? Really, I mean, I'm not bragging or anything, but please, it's like if a brand new agent, graduates with a brand new license yesterday, by the time I end up talking to the seller on who's going to list the property, who do you think they're going to go with? Somebody who has 40 years experience or a day on the job. So yeah, I don't have a problem teaching people at all. Same thing with flipping. If you can become a flipper at my level, I'm just going to clap for you. I'm going to applaud you. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So let's take that right there, that moment right there, and let's transition to the other topic, which has to do with financial freedom. And the reason why I'm going to use that topic, that window right there, is because you heard me say this already in this interview. Real estate is a great way to make money, but it's also a very demanding field. The path over 40 years of having seen 3 downturns and what it means to have your, excuse my language, your backside or your ass handed to you, and then having to straighten it out again, because that's what the market will do. Right now, some people it's extreme, some people it's not so much, depends upon, what your story is. But that younger person that you're mentoring through and hoping that you can mentor them so that maybe their path's a little easier than yours, or you can see the light go off in their eyes, like light up, and they can see the possibility of their life, which is, for me, one of the joys of teaching. It's because real estate will be difficult. So if I may, let's talk about, well, why, if you had a job for 30 years, it was being a policeman, you left it behind, right? You didn't, when you retired, you kind of left it behind. You haven't looked back. Tell me why, if you're a police officer, you're developing your pension fund, it comes from, a reliable source. It's not like they're not going to pay you. Why do real estate? Why double work? Why, work on condos with your wife on the weekend and be a police officer? Why develop your own portfolio? Why not just be relying on the W-2? What is it inside of you?
That's a great question. And I guess the best way to answer it is one, real estate was in my blood from birth, basically. My dad instilled in me the love of real estate, and that I could make something of that at the end of the day. So it was always a passion for me. Being a police officer, you have ups and downs. I never wanted to be, the head guy in charge, or, even a sergeant. I made it as high as a detective, and that's as high as I ever wanted to go. So, I didn't necessarily want to boss people around and stuff like that. So being a police officer gave me, the financial freedom to be able to invest in properties which is what I like to do. So that was awesome. Being a police officer also gave me the stability of having that 9-to-5 job. And then at the end of the 30 years, having a pension that, the public, thank you, pays for that pension for the rest of my life. So that kind of gave me financial freedom when I retired. But I can tell you that when I retired, let's say at that point, half of my money was coming from my pension. The other half was coming from the real estate that I have been doing for the 30 years. Remember, I bought my first condo when I was 22. I retired when I was 50. That was literally paid off for by the time I retired. So adding the real estate broker into the mix. So I end up getting a pension. I get my real estate broker stuff. And then I also have my private investments, my real estate investments over here. So, it just gives me more financial freedom.
So what does financial freedom mean to you? What is it? Why financial freedom is a big word. We use it a lot. What does it mean to you to be financially free?
Being financially free means that if I don't want to do anything, I don't have to do anything. Okay. It does not mean that I fly first class. I stay at a 5-star hotel. To me, it doesn't mean any of that stuff. It means that, I funded my 3 children's college education. I bought them brand new cars when they turned 16. I am currently funding my 3 grandchildren's education.
Congratulations.
So that's what financial freedom means to me, being able to do that stuff. And like I've told my children, it makes me happy to invest in you and my grandchildren while I'm alive. Because if I die, how much fun is that?
I mean, really, like I don't get to participate in this.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like,
where's my payback?
my son, I met him.
I'm joking about the payback part, by the way.
I met him for lunch, and his wife and the daughter, which is 5 right now. I met them for lunch, and I go, hey, do you have a Christmas list yet? For her, because I think if we don't order early, it's not going to get there by Christmas.
That's a good point.
So he sent me the Christmas list, and I'm really kind of shocked. My daughter did the same thing when she was growing up. It's like I used to take her clothes shopping. This is how I clothes shop. So we go to the mall. She goes, sit there outside.
Right.
I'll go in and buy something. I'll come out and grab the credit card when I need it. Okay.
Right.
And so, but it shocked me because she come out and she goes, oh, I found a couple of dresses that I wanted. And I'm thinking, I'm here, buy whatever you want, I'm not going to say no,
Right.
But the same thing happened with my son. He gives me this list. It was like a couple $100 or whatever, no big deal. So I just ordered the whole thing. It's like, I think he's thinking I'm going to buy 1 or 2 things. No, I fulfilled the whole thing.
Right.
So that's financial freedom. Does that make me feel good? Absolutely. It makes me feel good, and I want to be alive. I want to be alive to feel good about those moments and stuff. So I guess in a nutshell, that for me, that's financial freedom.
Okay. And the police officer's pension wasn't necessarily going to give that to you. And it sounds like real estate was within easy reach for you.
Correct. Yes.
And you were willing to have a job and work weekends.
Work weekends, work nights. Yeah. Work all sorts of shifts, work holidays. Yeah. All that stuff.
All that stuff.
I did all that stuff. Yeah. In the rain, I can't say snow because I was never in snow. It's like my dad, he was born on a tropical island. And he used to tell us when he was growing up, it's like, I used to have to walk to school in the snow uphill.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, uphill in a Caribbean island. No, that didn't happen. Well, yeah. The point is, you can go walk to school.
Either way, the point is you can walk to school.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question, but maybe hopefully dynamic question. So tell us about your worst deal and what you learned from it.
So here I am, was I still a police officer then? I don't remember if I was, but as I was a police officer, other police officers, say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm like doing this, flipping properties, buying this, buying that. I always used to have people that say, hey, can I do that with you? And okay, so what is my question back to them? Well, what does that look like? Well, here, I'll just give you some money and then you go do your thing. And, I go, I'm working on the properties myself. Okay. It's like, I don't think that's fair. So I never accepted anything. I had one guy towards the end, really close friend of mine. We actually went to high school together, and we got back together on the police department because he was a police officer. He was a sergeant, and he was very handy. He did a lot of woodwork. So he goes, oh, I want to learn what you're doing, and I want to help you. I want to be there. Okay. It's you and me, like, and the wives, and they can come and just like, hand us whatever, And so I took him on, and we still have, we just sold 2 properties. We still have 2 properties together. We had at one time 10. One property we were flipping was, the market was doing this. And then it got up to here, and we're in the middle of this flip. Number one, it took too long from the purchase to the sale. It was 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we did hard money on that deal, which I still do, but big lesson, okay? Hard money, you want to go in and out as quick as possible. Well, this was 8 months down the road, and it cost us a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, he said that he was going to do the kitchen because he knew how to do that, but he was going to build the cabinets from scratch. Well, that took 3 months, okay? Like,
And he
right
wasn't
now,
doing it 3 months before the install date. He
Yeah.
did it when you said, okay, we're ready for the kitchen. He's like, okay, I'll start building,
yeah,
which means now you're waiting 3 months.
yeah. So like right now, if I hire a contractor to do a kitchen, they're in and out in a day or two at the most. Okay. So anyways, the market was here, and then it started going down. And then I said, okay, where do you want to price this? Remember, he was my 50-50 partner. So I was giving him his, choice, which is a lesson that I learned. I was, at the time, I was more of a professional than he was. So I should have been telling him, let's put it here. No, he's like everybody else, my house
Top dollar.
has the heavy duty nails. Okay. Not
And
the regular,
and the custom made kitchen cabinets.
heavy duty nails, custom kitchen cabinets. We should price it up here, which we did. And then we should have priced it here, and everybody was here.
Right.
So it wasn't selling. And so I go, let's drop the price. And here's the market going down. And it's dropped the price, and here's the market going. We're chasing the market down. Finally, I put my foot down. I said, no, I put it down here, and it finally sold.
Yep.
But that was an $80,000 loss. Okay.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
But we bought 2 properties after that, and we made that money up really quick.
Okay.
So it was a big lesson learned. A big lesson learned. Like right now, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, Joe, I've got a perfect property, I want to put in half. Can you put in half? We'll flip it together. I want you to teach me how to do it. I said, I'm fine doing all that stuff, but I have to be in charge of the project. Okay. So, you want purple paint? No, that's not going to work. Okay. I make the final decision there. You want to put your personal touches in there as long as I agree with what those personal touches are, and it's going to be able to sell that property quickly, I'm fine with it. Okay. Pricing, it's my decision where that thing's going to be priced, because I know the market, because I do this every day. It should be here. Well, no, Joe, but we put so much work into it and stuff. It should be up here. No. Listen to me. It needs to be here. We need to go in and out as quick as possible. So that was a big lesson that I learned. And I guess kind of surprising, because I was a police officer, and that's our whole life, is taking control of, things and situations. But again, he was a police officer as well, and he was a sergeant, and he outranked me. So but, I learned, I learned a big lesson.
You did learn a big lesson.
I
It
did.
sounds
I
like you
learned a
did
big
learn because like you said, I mean, there's a difference. I will often talk with clients about the money that goes in and the contract that gets made. And the money that goes in and the contract that gets made, you need to be aware there might be a difference between the reality of power having to do with the money that's going in and what you said the power is based on the contract and whether that actually is what happens. Right? You can have
Correct.
this differential. So you go in 50-50, but you actually had more experience, but you gave him 50% power, or maybe maybe a hair more, maybe 50.1% power.
Right.
But really, I think the lesson that you learned was, what do you need to keep in your power in order for you to ensure the success of the project? Because that's what you do. That's your area. That's your jurisdiction, and you're going to keep it under your jurisdiction going forward.
Correct.
So I get the lesson, right?
And yeah, and along the same lines, I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, Joe, I'd like to do a flip. You just kind of hold my hand during the entire process. And if I don't make any money at the end of the day, I'm good with that because you're teaching me how to do it." I go, "I would be a really bad teacher if I told you to invest in a flip and you made no money.
Money,
Wouldn't
right?
that be like terrible? Like I would fire myself if I did that. It's like, come
Right.
on, you know, where's that
I'm
coming
not teaching you to make no money. That's
Right.
no purpose in that lesson. The lesson is to teach you to make money.
Yeah. If you wanted just to follow me along on one of my flips and, there's zero money out of your pocket, you're still going to learn the same thing. It just depends on what you want to do. So, hey.
Yeah, but you learn a lot more when it's your own money in the
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
You know?
Skin in the game, you can't sleep at night and, oh my God, I've got another, mortgage payment to make or, oh my God, I got to pay the insurance or gee, the contractor didn't show up today. No, yeah, I agree. It's a lot more pressure.
It's a lot more
Absolutely.
pressure when it's your money in the game. So Joe, if people want to, so actually let me go back for a minute. So you're a real estate agent. Confirm for us what's your what's your area you consider yourself to be an expert in? Because what I'm about to say is if people want to get a hold of you for any one of the services that you have, obviously not to be a police officer because that's done, but being a broker or being somebody who's a mentor or bringing you a flip of some kind, right? Then they need to know what your farming area is, both as an agent and as a flipper.
So as an agent, I like to stay in Orange County, but I've been afforded the opportunity here recently to become a regional broker of a company called Pelago.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to hire about 150 agents in a year or so. Those agents are going to range from Ventura County all the way to the Mexican border and then out towards Riverside, San Bernardino. So I'll have short answer is I have a lot of agents at my disposal to be able to help anybody in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Flips, I do Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino. I don't go to San Diego. I try to stay away from LA, but if somebody were to send me a deal that was like a killer deal, I'd go to LA. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, so I can do that, but it's not like it's my favorite place to go, nothing wrong with LA. It's just like, when you go there and you're in LA City proper, you have to follow so many more different rules than we have here in Orange County or even Riverside or San Bernardino. It's just like there's rules stacked on top of other rules. So I just try to stay away from LA. And then as just a regular agent, I mean, I can handle whatever is sent my way because I've been there, done that. And I also discount my commission as well. So, you've got a lot of, Zillow people and Redfin people and all that stuff out there. I'm a broker, so I can charge whatever I want or whatever makes you happy. So, I've got a lot of freedom to do that. And with Pelago as well, the agents that I'm hiring, their fee to the company is $550. So I give them that flexibility to compete with these, other online brokers and stuff, to become competitive in that way. So if they need to discount their commission down to, 1% on their side and 2.5% on the buyer side, they can do that. It's just, hey, it's your work and, your effort, what you're going to put into it. And if that's what you need to get the listing, then do that. So I always tell them, some money is better than no money.
And they can negotiate that independently with your agent, right? So it's because you give your agent that freedom of the agents that are going to be working under you in the Pelago model. So beautiful. So Joe, how do people get a hold of you if they want to hire you as an agent, they want access to the agents that are now working under you, or they want to be able to get some version of mentorship based on your flips in business?
You can go to my website, Joe Homes, JOEHOMS.com, has all the information that you need there, including my phone number. If you want my phone number, it's 949-625-4533. My email address is real simple, joe@joehomes.com. There's no L, there's no E, just HOMS.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So that's really the easiest and the best ways to get a hold of me. If you're on Bigger Pockets, you can go on Bigger Pockets and connect with me there. I'm not hard to find, really.
No, you're not. Actually, you go on Google and you type in Joe, JOEHOMS, not like you said, no L, no E, it's just HOMS, homes and real estate, and you pop up pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do. So that's beautiful, Joe. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being willing to share authentically your story and letting people, whether it's a new investor or an older investor like myself, learn from what you've learned. And so hopefully people have found this valuable and they can use the lessons and grow themselves as an investor and start to develop their own financial freedom. My name is Christina Suter. Thank you so much for listening to Real Estate Breakthrough. Tune in next week for our next guest.